My name is Aris, and for 52 years, Athens has been the only home I've ever known, its ancient stones and bustling streets etched into my very soul. My days began before dawn, with the scent of strong Greek coffee brewing in my small apartment above the clinic, and the distant hum of the city waking up. I'd walk down the creaky wooden stairs to my optometry practice, a place filled with the quiet hum of diagnostic machines, the gentle click of lens samples, and the comforting smell of antiseptic. Every morning, I'd turn on the lights, dust the frames on display, and arrange the instruments with a reverence born of deep love for my craft. I was an optometrist, and for over 25 years, I had dedicated my life to helping people see the world clearly. It was more than a job. It was a calling, a way to connect with the incredible tapestry of human life that passed through my doors. I loved seeing the moment a child's eyes lit up as they put on their first pair of glasses, or the relief on an elderly woman's face when her vision was finally sharp again. These small moments of clarity, these tiny triumphs, were the fuel that kept me going. But beneath the surface of my calm, professional demeanor, a relentless current of worry pulled at me constantly. The truth was my little clinic, Aris Optics, was struggling. The economic shifts had hit Athens hard, and people were cutting back on everything, especially what they considered non-essentials. Fewer patients meant less income, and the bills, they never stopped. Rent for the clinic, payments for the equipment, utilities, taxes, they piled up on my desk, a silent, growing mountain. I often thought of Elara, my beloved wife, who had been the heart of this practice alongside me. We had built it together, dreaming of a place where everyone, regardless of their background, could receive the best eye care. She had a way of making even the most nervous patient feel at ease, her laughter echoing through these very rooms. But she had passed away 5 years ago, taken by a sudden illness, and with her a significant part of my own light dimmed. Her absence was a constant ache, a phantom limb that still longed for her touch. I felt a heavy burden, an internal nemesis whispering doubts into my ear. "You're failing, Aris. You can't keep this going. You're letting Elara down." The fear of losing the clinic, the last tangible piece of our shared dream, was a cold knot in my stomach. The isolation since her passing often felt overwhelming. I was alone, battling this struggle in silence, trying to uphold a legacy I increasingly felt too weak to carry. I tried everything I could think of to keep the clinic afloat. I printed flyers and distributed them in local cafes and shops, offering small discounts for first-time patients. I reached out to community centers, proposing free vision screenings for the elderly, hoping that some would then come in for a full consultation. I even started staying open later, sometimes offering to tutor local children in mathematics, using the small earnings to cover a day's worth of electricity. I saw more and more children with vision problems, children whose parents clearly couldn't afford proper glasses, and my heart ached for them. Their potential was being dimmed, their world blurred by something so easily fixable if only the means were there. This ignited a new idea in me. Remembering Elara's boundless generosity, I decided to host a community vision day at the clinic. I would offer completely free comprehensive eye exams to anyone who walked in, especially children and the elderly. It was a risky move, as it meant a day of no income and the cost of supplies, but I desperately hoped it would bring some positive attention, some new paying patients, or at the very least, allow me to help those truly in need. I spent days preparing, cleaning every surface, sharpening every lens, rehearsing the words I'd say to welcome people. The day itself was a blur of activity. Many people came, grateful for the free service, especially parents bringing their children. I saw dozens of eyes that day, some healthy, many not. I gave advice, referrals, and even managed to replace a few broken lenses for free using old stock. But when the day ended and the last patient had left, I looked at my appointment book for the coming weeks. It was still mostly empty. The gratitude was there, yes, but the paying customers, the ones who could keep my clinic alive, were not. A wave of disappointment washed over me. Just a few days later, a critical piece of equipment, my autorefractor, sputtered and died with a final, mournful whine. The repair estimate was astronomical, far beyond what I could afford. I tried to do the readings manually, but it was slower, less precise, and felt like a step backward, back to the early days when Elara and I had just started. Then came the eviction notice, stapled to my clinic door one crisp morning. The building owner, facing his own financial troubles, had decided to sell. I had 60 days to vacate, 60 days to find a new location, 60 days to pack up 25 years of memories, 60 days to dismantle the very foundation of my life. My heart sank. This wasn't just a clinic, it was Elara's dream, our sanctuary. I felt like a shipwrecked sailor, the waves of adversity relentlessly crashing over me, dragging me deeper and deeper into the cold, dark ocean of despair. I sat alone in the dim clinic that evening, the only light coming from the street lamp outside, casting long, dancing shadows of my instruments across the floor. I held a faded photograph of Elara, her smile still as bright as the day it was taken. "I'm sorry, my love," I whispered, my voice thick with unshed tears. "I tried, I truly did." I considered selling the last pieces of jewelry Elara had left me, pieces I had sworn I would never part with, but even that wouldn't be enough to cover the cost of a new rental space, a deposit, and moving the heavy equipment. There was no way out. The clinic was doomed. My purpose, my connection to her, was about to be extinguished. I felt a crushing sense of failure, not just for myself, but for the entire spirit of compassion that Elara had instilled in me. I was at my absolute lowest point. The eviction deadline loomed like a dark cloud, and I had started the heartbreaking process of packing, carefully wrapping each piece of equipment, each framed certificate, each memory. The clinic felt emptier with every box I sealed. I was numb, resigned to my fate, planning to close the doors for good in a few days. Then, on a Tuesday morning, just as I was contemplating calling the moving company, the bell above the clinic door jingled softly. A small, shy boy, no older than 10, stepped in. His eyes, though bright and curious, were hidden behind glasses that looked like they had been through a war. The frames were bent, one temple arm was taped crudely with electrical tape, and the lenses were so scratched and smudged, it was a wonder he could see anything at all. He held tightly to the hand of a woman who looked barely older than a teenager herself, perhaps his older sister, her face etched with exhaustion and worry. "Excuse me, Dr. Aris," she said softly, her voice hesitant. "My brother Nikos, his glasses broke again. We just wondered if you could perhaps, just for today, put a bit more tape on them. We cannot afford new ones right now, not with everything." I looked at Nikos, whose wide, innocent eyes peered at me through the warped lenses, a hopeful yet fragile spark within them. And in that instant, something shifted within me. It was as if Elara's spirit, her unwavering compassion, had walked into the room with them. I remembered her favorite saying, "Even a small light can banish much darkness." Here was a child, a small light struggling to shine, and he needed me. What did I have to lose? I was already losing everything. I would not let this boy's light dim. "Nikos," I said, my voice softer than I expected. "Come here, my boy. Let Dr. Aris take a look." I gently guided him to the examination chair, ignoring the protesting groan of my empty wallet. I performed a thorough examination, not just a quick fix. I saw the strain in his eyes, the slight squint he had developed, trying to compensate for his poor vision and broken glasses. His prescription was quite strong, and those old, taped lenses were doing him more harm than good. "Nikos," I said, looking at him with a smile, "it seems you are in luck today. We are running a very special, very secret contest here at Aris Optics, and I believe you have just won first prize." His eyes widened, a mixture of confusion and excitement dancing in their depths. His sister looked on, bewildered. "A contest?" she murmured. "Yes," I said, my voice full of conviction. "A contest of resilience. You, my boy, have shown great strength carrying on with these old glasses, and your prize is a brand new pair, chosen especially for you, completely free of charge." I led him to the display cases, my hand on his shoulder. I let him choose the frames, a sturdy, vibrant blue pair that perfectly complemented his eager face. With steady hands, I fitted the new lenses, adjusting them until they sat perfectly on his nose. "There," I said, placing the new glasses on his face. "Open your eyes, Nikos." He blinked once, then twice, and then a gasp escaped his lips. His small face lit up with an unadulterated joy that pierced through the gloom I had been carrying. He looked around the room, at the patterns on the wallpaper, at the details on my worn white coat, at his sister's astonished face, as if seeing them clearly for the very first time. "Wow," he whispered. "I can see everything, it's so clear." His sister, tears welling in her own eyes, could only manage a choked, "Thank you, Dr. Aris, thank you." Seeing Nikos' face, truly seeing the impact of that simple act, something inside me clicked back into place. It wasn't about the money, not anymore. It was about purpose, about humanity, about the light we can bring into each other's lives, even when our own light feels dim. The news of Nikos' new glasses and the contest he had won spread like wildfire through our small neighborhood. Nikos, beaming, showed everyone his new blue frames, telling the story of the kind optometrist who had given them to him for free. His sister, deeply moved, shared our story with her friends and family. A few days later, a small article appeared in the local community newspaper, detailing the struggling Aris Optics clinic and the unexpected act of kindness shown to a child in need. The story touched a chord. People started coming in, not just for free advice, but for actual appointments. Old patients who had drifted away during the hard times returned, saying they felt guilty for not supporting me earlier. New patients, touched by the story, wanted to support a man who had given so selflessly. A few weeks later, something truly unexpected happened. A woman I recognized as a distant relative of Nikos's family, a kind seamstress named Sophia, came into the clinic. She told me her family had won a small lottery prize, not a fortune, but enough to make a difference. She insisted on making a significant donation to the clinic, specifically for a Nikos fund for children's glasses. "You gave my family hope, Dr. Aris," she said, her eyes shining. "Now it is our turn to help you keep that hope alive for others." With Sophia's generous donation and the steady stream of new patients, Aris Optics slowly, miraculously began to recover. I was able to pay the last of the outstanding bills, and though I still had to move, I found a smaller, cozier space just a few blocks away, and the community rallied to help me move the equipment. I established the Nikos Fund as a permanent fixture, placing a small, clear jar on my counter with a photo of a smiling Nikos in his blue glasses. People contributed what they could, and I matched every donation. I never had to turn a child away again. My loneliness began to lift. I started seeing old friends again, sharing meals, laughing. Elara's presence felt different now, not a weight of expectation, but a gentle, guiding hand, a source of unwavering warmth and strength. My new normal was nose to nose with a sense of profound gratitude. Years passed, and Aris Optics in its new, smaller but thriving location became a pillar of the community. One sunny afternoon, the bell above the door chimed, and a tall, confident young man walked in. He wore smart, professional attire, and his eyes, clear and bright, scanned the room with a familiar sense of wonder. "Dr. Aris?" he asked, his voice deep and warm. I looked up from my examination chair, a smile already forming on my face. "Yes, my boy." I knew that voice, those eyes. "Nikos?" He grinned, that same youthful joy still evident. "It's me, Dr. Nikos, I'm back." He pulled a small, laminated card from his wallet. It was a crude, handwritten certificate that read, "Official winner, Aris Optics Resilience Contest." He had kept it all these years. He told me he was now an architect, designing beautiful buildings, and that he owed it all to the clear vision I had given him that day. "Those glasses, doctor," he said, his voice earnest. "They didn't just help me see the blackboard, they helped me see a future. They helped me believe that kindness existed, and that if I worked hard, I could make my own dreams clear." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a thick envelope. "I want to make a substantial donation to the Nikos Fund," he said, handing it to me. "Enough to ensure many more children can win that contest, just like I did." I looked at the envelope, then at Nikos, a lump forming in my throat. I realized then that the contest wasn't just for him. It was for me too. By giving when I thought I had nothing left, I had won back my purpose, my hope, and created a ripple effect that had now returned to me, fuller and more beautiful than I could have ever imagined. It was a simple, profound truth. True wealth isn't measured in coin, but in the clarity of a child's vision and the endless compassion of the human heart.